Alexander Show is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Janet Jackson's phenomenal album, The Velvet Rope, by speaking to the people who were involved with the album and the world tour. We're ecstatic to welcome for the first time to the show dancer and choreographer Teresa Espinosa, who was the swing dancer on the Velvet Rope tour, a very important position that calls for action at a moment's notice. Teresa, thank you so much for joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
I'm glad. We're so excited to have you. I know that this is your first time on our show, and so we're just over the moon, and I know the fans are going to be super, super happy to hear from you. So thanks for doing this. And I guess I'll start off by asking you, how old were you when you actually landed the gig, and what was the journey for you to either get the audition or be chosen for the Velvet Rope tour?
Yeah, I think at the time I was 22, somewhere between 22 and 24. I don't really remember. I think it was 22 or 23, and then by the end of the tour, I was like 23 or 24 or something like that. But the process of getting there, gosh, where do I start? It was so long ago. I had met Tina through a mutual friend, and at the time, he was my boyfriend, and he was best friends with Tina, and so I kind of got introduced to Tina and Janet and that whole clan through him. And slowly but surely, you know, every time I saw Tina, I would get so nervous. She was like my idol. And I would turn into like this weird person who couldn't speak. I would mess up my sentences all the time. And I would just freeze and like get weird around her and all this stuff. I was just so nervous because I just really looked up to her. And eventually down the line, the audition for the Janet tour happened. It came into town in LA. And so I kind of had like somewhat of a beginning relationship with Tina and the crew, but I still had to audition and I still had to prove myself. And it was a 3-day audition, ladies on the first day, guys on the second, and then callbacks on the third day. And it was such a wild ride. I mean, back then I was so hungry and passionate and down to like prove myself. And yeah, it was just, I made it through all the way. And Janet, I think Renee was there as well by the third day. And so Janet was there and watching all back people. And I just felt really good at the time. And I think I was sick, and I still didn't care. I still like gave 1,000%, and I was just so excited to be, try to get a spot on the tour.
What do you think that Tina and Janet and Renee saw in you specifically?
Ooh, I think kind of at the time there weren't a lot of girls who freestyled, so that was my niche. That was my thing. Was like I was known as the girl who freestyled. So I would, rock circles with the guys and stuff. And before that, I think Tish was a part of, like, she was a freestyler, and she was, like, that representative for the tour before. But this time around, I think they were kind of still, I don't know, but I think they were looking for that raw element. And I was really green. I was super excited. I was super hungry and passionate. And I think all of those things kind of just shine through.
Can you talk to us about what it felt like when they told you got the gig? Like, how did that go down, the you getting it?
Oh, man. Okay. So after the audition, they started promo tour, and they did, I think, Got Till It's Gone video and Together Again video. And I wasn't a part of any of that. So, like, 6 months go by, they're doing promo and stuff. I felt like I did great at the audition. And then right before Christmas break, Tina comes over. And, of course, I'm weird and nervous, as usual. And she hands me a Christmas card. And I was tripping out because it's Tina Landon's giving me a Christmas card. And for whatever reason, I waited to read it. And eventually I opened it up with her not there. And it said something, I'm paraphrasing, but it said something like, Janet and I were wondering if you'd like to be a part of the Velvet Rope project. And of course, I immediately start screaming and bawling, tears of joy. And so I go back inside to tell her thank you because I was so like overwhelmed with joy. And I'm going, oh my God, Velvet Rope is my favorite song. I can't believe it. Thank you. Like I'm thinking it's like a music video, that the Velvet Rope song, you know, music video. And I was just crying over that, you know. And then my boyfriend at the time, he goes, Teresa, you know she's talking about the tour, right? And I looked at him and I looked at her, and I like started, I don't know if it's possible, but I started crying even more. It really did not legitimately hit me till he said that, because I literally thought it was just the one song.
That is awesome.
And so from there it was just like, oh wow. So yeah.
That's like the best Christmas present.
Yeah, it was. And there's more to the story after that, but I could keep going if you want.
You can go as long as you want, because trust me, the fans will be super excited to hear about all of it. So whatever you want to share, go right on ahead.
Okay. So that was Christmas break, and I go home telling my family, you know, I'm going to be dancing for Janet Jackson and all this stuff, and everybody's excited for me. And I get back to LA after Christmas, and my agent's calling me, telling me, you know, to go to these auditions and stuff. And I'm wondering why they keep sending me auditions, because I'm like, you know, I'm supposed to be working with Janet Jackson or whatever. I'm about to tell you the real, okay?
Yep.
I'm about to tell you the real. So because of that, I started thinking I'm a Janet Jackson dancer, and I haven't been to one rehearsal yet. And my ego kind of got, you know, bloated a little bit. And I remember feeling like, yeah, I'm a Janet dancer, you know?
Yep.
And I had not been in one rehearsal yet. And so my agent's calling me, telling me to go to these auditions, and I'm like, wait, don't you know I'm supposed to be, you know, dancing for Janet? And then my agent tells me, well, they're kind of having issues money-wise, like working out the deals with the reg dancers. I don't think they have money for you, you know, to bring on a swing. And I said, oh, okay. So that was a very pivotal moment for me. I realized, like, I was letting my ego get the best of me right away. And so because of that, that moment, I was like, okay, that was good enough to, you know, be asked to be a part of it, even though it didn't work out. And my ego literally got deflated, and I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'll just keep going. You know, I'm just going to keep dancing. And I started actually working and doing gigs. And at the time, I was doing a gig for Drew Hill. I don't know if you remember Drew Hill. Of
course. Love Drew Hill.
Okay. Yeah. I was literally in the middle of rehearsals with Drew Hill for the Soul Train Awards. And I got a page, because we had pagers back then.
Pagers! Love pagers.
And so I called my agent on the payphone at the rehearsal studio. And they said, hey, Tina wants to know when you can come to rehearsal. And I said, oh my God, I'm in rehearsals now, and I have to finish this gig. I'm like literally in the middle of the gig. I couldn't, you know, back out like that. And they go, it's okay. They'll wait for you. You know, just come to rehearsals when you're done with those rehearsals at Alley Cat, which Alley Cat doesn't exist anymore. But God, man, time flies. And so I remember running into my rehearsal that I was at and telling everybody that I'm, you know, going to be dancing for Janet, and like, you know, I got the call, you know, and everybody's like, yay!
That's so awesome.
It was like not very enthusiastic, but it was, you know, they were trying or whatever. But there was one guy in the rehearsal, and I don't know if you know Farnsworth Bentley.
Yep, I've heard of that name.
So before he was Farnsworth Bentley, he was Derek from Atlanta.
Of course.
And he was visiting one of the dancers there while we were rehearsing, and he was in the room when I came in and said, I'm dancing for Janet, like I'm going to rehearsal like today, you know. I'll never forget how excited he was with me and for me, you know. And so till this day, every time I see him, it's like this connection I have with him where we shared that moment together.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I ended up eventually getting to go to my first rehearsal at Alley Cat. For whatever reason, Tice really, really, like, he saw me, he gravitated towards me, and basically from day one said, you need anything, just let me know. I'm here for you. And it was really, I didn't know anything. So to have someone with experience and who had been doing all of the promo and been part of the camp to really extend himself to me I'll never forget. And I'm so appreciative of him extending himself to me, because it was, you're green, I don't know, it's just like, you don't know what you're walking into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes. And so it was very helpful and like just a kind thing for him to do. And I'm always so appreciative of that from him.
Did you know any of the other dancers before, like, you landed at rehearsal, like, apart from Tina, or was that, like, you meeting them for the first time?
Oh, yeah, I knew everybody.
Oh, did you? Okay, great.
I knew who they all were. Like, they were famous in my eyes, Nikki, Kelly, Shawnette. I knew Ty. I had heard of Tice. I didn't know him at the time. Gil he was, I think, 17 or 18 from Hawaii. Like, I think it was one of his first things he'd ever done. So, and I kind of knew him a little bit for that. Michael Andrews and Rob Vinson were people that I danced in circles with at the club. So definitely knew them. Yeah, it was the girls that were like godsends, like I just wanted to bow down like every day, just, because they are Janet girls, and they, not only that, but they were amazingly talented women,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm so glad for you. I think that must have been such a great experience to have at such a young age. Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is dancer and choreographer Teresa Espinosa. Make sure to follow her on her Instagram account at Espinosa22. Can you actually give us an idea what rehearsal was like as you guys were prepping for the tour?
Yeah, I think we were rehearsing down in Culver Studios, or Culver City Studios or something like that. And it was a big sound stage, and they had oh my gosh, I know this sounds terrible, but I don't remember if they had a mock-up of the stage or if they was just taped out, but it was like this big sound stage, and we go there every day and do the staging and work on choreography. Tina, bless her heart, so not only was she rehearsing with us, like during regular rehearsal hours, but she'd also have to choreograph for the next day or whatever the next thing we were working on after. And because I didn't have anything to compare it to, I'm just there like trying to absorb everything. She asked me to do some choreography for the tour, which was, I don't even know how to explain like what an honor and like how excited I was, because I got to choreograph with Tina Landon. It's just like she's a freaking legend, and she taught me a lot. She taught me a lot about choreography and dance, and the experience of me being there was, I would, for the most part, I would fill in as her so that she could watch the overall picture. So that's how I really got to learn the choreography and be a part of it. So I kept filling in for her while she was choreographing and looking at everything. Eventually, I'm sorry, it was so long ago, I'm trying to remember everything.
Mm-hmm. You're doing a great job.
But I remember we were like maybe a week left before tour, and I'm still thinking I'm staying in LA and they're going to go off to Europe. And we're all sitting down, and Janet's like thanking us and like telling us what's going to happen and all this stuff, her and Tina. And then they asked me if they tell me that they want to bring me to Europe. And I of course, it's just like an excitement, one like thing after the other. It's just like, how could this get any better? And it did. It kept getting better. It was just like they asked me to come to Europe, and I thought I was going for a month. The Europe leg was 3 months. So once I was there, we were at, I want to say we were at Michael Andrews' birthday dinner while we were in Europe for the tech rehearsals in Europe before the actual tour started. And Janet pulls me aside and she goes, "Hey, we want to bring you on tour." And I, it's just like, can I cry anymore? Can I be more excited? Can I be more thankful? And that's how, like, I found out I was actually going to be on the tour. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was wild.
Can you tell me, just because you're sort of speaking about Janet specifically right now, what is she like as a boss / colleague? Because obviously she's boss lady, but she's also like, one of you guys. What was that like, especially because you were so young at the time?
Ooh, I mean, she worked so hard, and she was so invested in everything. She was there. She wasn't that artist that, shows up, learns her steps, and goes home. She was dedicated and very much a part of the creative process. And for me, it was, it's hard for me to explain other than, like, I was just in awe. I was in awe of everyone, It was like gold coming out of everybody's mouth. I don't know how to explain that, but it's just like, I was trying to do everything right, and they all pushed me to be the best dancer, and like Tina really pushed me to, be a better performer and a dancer. And I learned a lot just by watching and getting to see work. And Janet was just, she's just, on another level of artistry, because she wants it. She, it's not like, oh, I'm doing this for money. She really, really cared. And so I think all of that played a part in why Velvet Rope was such a success, and it had such a big impact on people.
And I wanted to ask you, because I know you've gone on to do so many great things, dancing for so many other artists and doing the Magic Mike things and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. With all of that, though, like, do you still feel, or do you feel, I guess, that the Janet experience was something just completely left of center, something different than what you've experienced even since then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that experience alone, it was my first everything, pretty much. So it was the starting ground and the foundation for my career. And, I mean, after that, I've toured after that. Like, I've danced and toured with people after, and the fact that we were on a 10-month tour, we're together for that long, almost a year for me, and probably longer for the other ones, but that just didn't happen. It never happened again. I would do tours, but they would last 4 months, or basically 4 months.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I never got to experience like that longevity with someone in that capacity after that.
I did want to ask you. Yeah. I did want to ask you with regards to, like, if I sort of say, I'm going to say some of the dancers' names from the Velvet Rope tour, and I want you to sort of describe them, if you can, in like 1 or 3 words, if that's possible. So if I say, Shawnette to you, what comes to mind? Oh my God, I love Shawnette. She is a freaking star. She's a star. She like exudes light. Awesome. Tice. He's funny. I want to say, I don't want to curse, but he's funny as. Got it. He's hilarious. That's awesome. Nikki. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous and beautiful and just so sweet. I love her. Kelly, of course. Oh my God, she's beautiful as well. Yeah, she was amazing, and she was actually, you know what's funny is like she's really, really sweet, but I remember from the tour, she had this side of her that she would let out, like kind of jokingly, of like kind of being sarcastic. Because she was so sweet, it was always really funny when she would let that side of herself out. That's awesome. Yeah. Gil. I'm going to be really real. We didn't really connect. Oh, really? Okay. We didn't really connect. No, yeah, I'm going to be honest. He was really young. I was really young. And I think we're just in different worlds, you know. I think he's super, super talented. I mean,
he was 18 years old, and he was trying to figure it out just like me. So
Rob,
oh my God, he is the epitome of like freestyle. He just let the music move him, you know. It was really cool to watch him.
And I'm going to end on Mike, I guess. Obviously, he passed away earlier this year, and I know so many of us were super, super sad, continue to be sad by his passing. What was he like to dance with, and what would you, I guess, want to say maybe to Mike today? Because I know I've interviewed him on the show, and he just seemed to love you guys so much. Like, he was so proud to be a part of the Velvet Rope team. What
a talent, and he has such a special place in my heart. We were kids. We were basically kids on this thing, and I think we were all literally trying to figure out our place in the world, and he was as well, and he was just so sweet and you know, kind of a goofball, but wanted to be cool. I think he really looked up to Rob a lot because Rob was the essence of cool, and so. The three of us actually during sound check a lot of times would go with the band to sound check, and they would mess around and play different songs, and we'd go up there and freestyle together, the three of us. That's just kind of our background. That's where our background was. So the three of us would connect on that you know, place of like just dance and letting go and freestyling and vibing together. And it was always just really sweet.
That's awesome. And I did want to get your take on Tina, because I know that some of the other ones describe her as not only, you know, your choreographer and sort of leader, if you will, on the dance floor, but like as Mama Bear.
Man, what can I say about her? She's a legend, and I learned so much by watching her, and I really felt like she took me under her wing and let me learn from her, you know, how to choreograph and how to put things together and how you connect with an artist. And she definitely was the Mama Bear, you know, especially for me. Like, I filled in for her on, you know, during rehearsals and stuff. So I don't know. I was literally like, I want to absorb it all. And Tina will forever be like on this pedestal for me, forever.
Awesome. And I did want to ask you this, because I think you're the first time that I've actually got to speak to you and ask you just what it was like sort of being in that swing dancer role. I almost think that your job was the toughest. Did you have to know everybody's part? And can you give us an example of where you had to step in sort of last minute because somebody was sick?
Yeah, so originally I thought I was told that I was a swing for the girls, right, originally. And then we're on tour, and sure enough, one of the first people to get hurt was a guy, and it was Gil. And it was Rhythm Nation, and I think Tina comes up running to me, and she goes, "Hey, can you fill in for Gil?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." But at the same time, I knew that there was 2/8 counts that Gil and Tice and Janet did in Rhythm Nation. The three of them did it together for 2/8. And I knew I didn't know it at all. And on top of that, I didn't know his staging. So I didn't care. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be up there. And I'm trying to learn it. Like, Tice is literally trying to teach me right before the number. As much as I could retain, I was trying to. And I go up there knowing I didn't know 2/8 of choreography. Like, I didn't know it at all. I couldn't even. So I go up there, and the part comes, and the way that the formation was, Tina was to my left, and if you weren't dancing, you were facing back. So she was to my left and in front of me, while I'm filling in for Gil in his spot, face to the audience, so I could see her in my peripheral to the left, and she knows I don't know the choreography. And she goes, "Just keep going, just keep going." And so I literally improvised Rhythm Nation style choreography. I literally made it up on the spot because I didn't know it. And I think Janet, what's so crazy is I think Janet knew, and the part where the three of us were supposed to dance together, she ends up walking across the stage telling the sound guy that something was wrong with her in-ears. And so she didn't do that bit of choreography at all. So I think a combination of, like, she knew I didn't know it, and she's a professional and, like, has tons of experience. So obviously she kind of distracted the fact that she didn't do that part with me, because otherwise I would have looked like a hot mess. And so Janet actually saved me, and Tina just kept like, just keep going. She was just yelling at me like, just do it, you know? And
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so that was my first experience actually filling in for someone.
Okay, and then did you have to do it a couple times? Like, you must have had to do it a few times.
Oh yeah, from there I started I started watching the guys' stuff, and after that moment I realized, I can fill in for everyone. So I started paying attention to other people's tracks, and then I was able to fill in for everybody pretty much. At one point I probably filled in for people.
Wow, that's awesome. And, we are at the 20th anniversary of the Velvet Rope. First of all, I guess I'll ask you, can you believe it's 20 years? And looking back, how do you view it in your, I guess, career and just in your inner being? Like, how do you feel about the Velvet Rope?
Oh, I just have so much, like, respect and reverence for that experience. And, I mean, it literally, in a sense, Janet put me on the map, you know, and with the HBO special, Janet, introduced me and gave me the opportunity to, like, have a moment to shine by myself. And that experience alone was, like, mind-blowing. And it was the beginning of everything for me, and I'm just so grateful. I'm literally just grateful to everyone there. The experience it wasn't always easy. This is for real. It wasn't always easy. There were some hard moments, but that was part of it was because I was learning who I was. This is my first everything, and I'm just green and excited, and I don't know. It was such a humongous learning experience, and I cherish it. I honor it, and it will always, 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 always be with me.
When was the last time you spoke to Janet, and what would you like to say to her with regards to the 20th anniversary? Like, what message would you have for her?
I would love to say that I am eternally grateful for such an incredible experience to, like, for whatever reason, she saw something in me, and literally her and Tina put me in a group of some of the most incredible, amazing, talented people. And that was the beginning. That was my start. And I was able to literally learn and watch and grow from some of the best performers I've ever seen, ever. I'm so grateful. And thank you, Janet. Thank you, Tina. Thank you to the other dancers. I carry that with me. I really do. It's, like, really, really special.
And I wanted to let you have a chance if you wanted to say something to the fans, because I'm very fortunate, a lot of the fans listen to the show, and especially because they know that I'm a huge Janet fan and a Janet dancer fan. So on this 20th anniversary, what would you like to say to them?
The fact that I felt like I was a fan as well, like, this was my dream, and the fact that it happened, I feel like anyone who has a dream or goal or desire, like, they can do it. They can do it. Like, there's a combination of seeing what it is and knowing that you can have it and do that and be that. I feel like I'm an example. I'm an example of that. That was my dream, and it manifested. And it doesn't always manifest in the way or the time that you think that it should or could or would, but it's possible. I feel like that's my message is anything that we want as humans, it's like, it's possible. You just have to believe that it's already so.
That's so cool.
And Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask you before I let you go, what are you working on now? Where can people sort of see your work? And because I know, you're awesome. You've had such a great career even since the Velvet Rope. I know the list is long, but where can people find you and sort of, check out what you're doing?
I recently, this past year, worked on the Magic Mike live show in Vegas, and I helped create it and associate directed and choreographed the show. And it was a love project for over 2 years, and it opened in March in Vegas. And I would highly recommend it to anyone. It's such a great show. It's so fun, and the guys are awesome people. It's funny. It's moving. It's sexy. And yeah.
We love you. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. And again, on behalf of the fans, I think we live vicariously through all of you on stage. And I think a lot of us actually gravitated a lot towards you, knowing that you and Gil were sort of the young ones on the tour. And I know you meant so much to me. So it's honestly a privilege and an honor to speak to you. So on behalf of the fans, thank you, Teresa, for everything and for bringing us such amazing memories and experiences back in 98.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
That is dancer and choreographer Teresa Espinosa. Make sure you follow her on Instagram at Espinosa22. Hey, it's Kelly, and I just want to take a moment to thank you so much for all of the support that you continue to show The Kelly Alexander Show and our latest program, Just Dance, that I co-host with award-winning choreographer Tina Landon. We've been having so much fun on Just Dance, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. We've done interviews with Brian and Scott Nicholson, who work with Ariana Grande, RJ and Nick, who work with Pink and Katy Perry, Luther Brown, who works with our girl Janet Jackson, and the list goes on. And we also have many surprises coming for you in this coming year. So please sign up and join us to have lots of fun. hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show, our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, and our newsletter, which is kellyalexandershow.com/subscribe.